John, not all women are like that.
Your arguments are bad, and you should feel bad. Now, Barbara, please put your hand down. Now, obviously, that is from a conversation, that the clip of Barbarossa saying, John, not all women are like that, is from a conversation that Barbarossa and I had a couple days ago, and I believe it's uploaded on his channel. I'll put a link to that in the low bar. You can hear the whole thing. It's like an hour and a half long. But one of the things we were talking about was the ubiquitous not all women are like that. Like that. What do we mean like that? Well, we mean predatory, amoral, opportunistic, treacherous, manipulative, lying, basically a catalog of scumbaggery that, men and women both have their own scumbaggery, their own douchebag behaviors, exploitive, lying, cheating, stealing, manipulating, and so on. And when we look at women, we see that there is a lack of social demotivators for a lot of those behaviors. There's a lack of consequence for this whole catalog of bad behavior. And when guys say, well, I'm not going to date, or I'm going to opt out, I refuse to marry, or I don't like women for X, Y, Z reasons because there are all these negative things, the answer is, well, of course not all women are like that. This is the defensive answer, right? You can't refuse to go out with women or deal with them or have female friends because not all women are like that, and you can't paint with a broad brush, right? This is a nonsense, though. This is a total failure to understand what the actual nature of the problem is. It's not whether 50% of women are, amoral or exploitive or manipulative. Even if their amorality, exploitive, manipulative, predatory behavior only manifests when dealing with men, or they don't recognize that their pathological behaviors are in fact pathological unless those behaviors are directed onto someone who matters, like a woman, right? So you don't manipulate and abuse and exploit a woman, but as soon as you do that to a man, that's just A-okay, right? These are the social attitudes that are in some respect prevalent in our society. And when you point them out and you say, well, I won't deal with these people who I believe are predatory, someone is always going to pipe up and say, well, not all women are like that, and you're being a bigot, or you're... The problem is, though, it's not whether it's 10% or 1% or 1/10 of 1% of women who are, quote, like that. It is that people are like that in a social system that encourages that behavior. So if you're looking at a catalog of negative behaviors, manipulation, lying, opportunism, lack of a moral compass, utilitarian view of other people as just tools to be used, etc. If your social norms and your legal standards provide no negative consequence for that catalog of negative behavior, then you're going to have an increasing percentage of the population manifesting those negative types of behavior and thought pattern. It's just that it happens that this suite of negative characteristics and behaviors and attitudes are not disincentivized in women. Some woman who kills her children is deemed a victim. She's the killer of children, and she's deemed a victim when it comes up in the media, right? Because her father abused her, perhaps, or maybe her husband beat her, or maybe there was nothing negative that happened to her, but we're going to get a story popping out of the media that there was some sort of negative thing which excuses her bad behavior. Well, we don't see that happening with men, do we? We don't see, a guy who's a violent criminal standing trial and the media full of stories about what a terrible, awful childhood he had, and he's the victim. Oh, that poor man. We don't see that. That just doesn't happen. But it does happen when you have predatory, negative, violent, criminal, exploitive, amoral behavior coming from a woman. We have this suite of excuse-making. We have a society which encourages, or at least completely fails to disincentivize, this entire suite of negative behaviors in women. Are all women like that? No, of course not. Are some women like that? Yes. What's the percent? It doesn't matter, because we live in a culture which encourages and fails to disincentivize the like that behavior. People mostly go with the flow of what they can get away with. And what they can get away with is all this negative characteristic, negative behavior pathology. Well, then you can safely assume that all women are like that. Thanks for watching. I'm John.